Hi there guys, Clouded Page back again for Pick One Pack One. Now for those of you who tuned into the last video, you'll have seen me go through quite an unusual process and developed quite an unusual deck. Following through from that, I've done my own consulting the experts, this time not looking through at the RNG site, but talking to our very own Cozzy, and so I've got him here on the line. Hi there, Cozzy.
Hey mate, how's it going?
Well, fairly well, apart from the bizarre Frankensteinian deck that I've managed to draft. So, I thought I'd just run you through what we've got here, show you the other picks that we've got available in our pool, and see if there's anything you recommend changing, given especially our ridiculously time-heavy top end with a strong Feln bottom underneath.
Yep, I'm picking up on the yellow on one-hand side of the deck list.
Very, very much. We get to about the 4-drop stage, and then things shift over into our... I've got too much of a fondness of Zen and Guardians, I think. But from the Zen and Guardian, going up into the Elysian Pathfinder, the Hunting Terrariax, which I struggle to say, the Towering Terrazons where things really start to shift badly with the 2 requirements, and then the Predatory Carnosaur at 3. Now you can see we've got the 1 Elysian Stranger and 3 time sigils with 1 Elysian Banner. So there's a bit of fixing available, but probably not quite enough to follow through with the 3 requirement.
Yeah, I've got to admit, mate, I'm quite nervous about that Predatory Carnosaur in particular. The fact that it has 3 pips of time on it, and that you only really have 5 available pips of time in your entire deck makes me really question how likely we are to be ever able to play that. And whilst it is a phenomenal card, like Predatory Carnosaur wins games that you should never have a right to win because it rocks up, it kills a big creature, it sits back and it blocks. I'm nervous about your ability to pay for all of this. And so...
You sound like my accountant.
Yeah, the difference is I don't have auditors chasing after me. So, but in seriousness, though, it looks as though you've had a bit of a curly draft and you found a couple of strong time cards come through. I imagine they're probably later picks.
Actually, bizarrely, a lot of the time came in early, and we kind of started to shift away as the time dried up.
Okay, and so because you shifted mid-draft, you didn't have quite enough time to get in enough of the film colours, or...?
Mainly, yeah. It'll be interesting to see actually your reactions after you see the video. But at the moment, and you can see we've got quite a healthy removal suite. I'm very happy with that. We've got the one Annihilate over here, the Death Strike. I have got others. The Lightning Strike coming in.
I can see the pair of feeding times as well in the middle.
Pair of feeding times is a very happy.
Oh wow, and
you
you got 2 okay. So yeah, you've got a ton of removal with a pair of executes as well.
A ton of removal. So let's go into the actual main pool of what we've managed to pick up. So this is the other time that's available for us. You can see I've also gotten rid of the Dormant Sentinel. I knew enough to know that too much of the top end was probably a bit too heavy.
Reassuring, mate.
There is another Zen and Guardian.
Yep.
You know, just floating that out there. And 2 kind of cards that I see more as piles. Also available within our colours, we've got another Jotun Warrior, another Dark Return, 2 Sabotage, which rightfully were very late picks and got pushed to the side.
I wouldn't be tempted by those for a second.
A 3rd Zen and Destroyer, which I may love the card a bit too much. A Direwood Rampager and a Spirit Drain. So there's a bit more removal.
Okay.
I've also then in the Feln colours got a Haunting Scream.
Alrighty, so I think if we could go back to the view where you see the whole deck laid out for a sec.
Absolutely.
The bit that worries me about having so many time cards is being able to afford the mana base or the power base for it to be able to pay for it. My rule of thumb is if I want to splash a single card, I generally want to be able to have 3 sources of the color available in the deck. And so I note that you got the 3 time sigils, the Elysian Banner, as well as the Elysian Stranger. It means that we could probably stretch to splash for 2 cards. But I think any more than that, and you're going to be in trouble. And it stops being a splash once you get beyond 3. It starts just being a 3-color deck. And whilst you've done a good job of getting some of the fixing there, I'm nervous about having quite so many time cards in the deck, to be honest. And so it looks as though you do have some good alternatives. Like I wouldn't be too interested in looking what other time cards can go in, but instead I noticed you had a Dark Return. You have enough units that I could be interested in putting that in the deck. There are a couple of good 2 and 3 drops, so definitely the Zen and Destroy, mate. You got no issues running that. That's a great card.
Well, I already have 2 of them, so I just wasn't sure if the 3rd one... I mean, it's a reckless card, but the lifesteal's wonderful. As I said, I'm a bit too fond of it.
Well, the thing is, you want to think about what role it's playing in your deck. So, if we were to get rid of those time cards, you can see that your deck is still relatively low to the ground and relatively aggressive. And your removal, instead of being used through a control lens, is much more of getting rid of whatever problematic blocker is going to get in your way. And so the catch with a Xenon Destroyer is if they play a 4/4, then it can just sit back, or it can't sit back. It has to run in. But with your depth of removal, I have the suspicion that whatever they can play, so long as you know that this is your plan, that you've got the Destroyers coming up and they're actually significant for you, you can either Frostkin to get yourself some time, you can use the Annihilates or the Feeding Times. Indeed, the Xenon Destroyer, let's say that they play an absolute bomb, and your Execute can normally only kill them when they're exhausted. Well, by attacking them with a Xenon Destroyer when they block, they get exhausted from it, so it turns on your Execute to be able to use it offensively. So I think I wouldn't be too worried about those Destroyers. I actually think I'll be putting in as many of those as I can get.
Okay, well, let's start throwing a few things in. I've taken out the time cards.
Yep.
So, first and foremost, within the colours, you thinking the Dark Return and the Xenon Destroyer fit in?
Yep, I wouldn't have an issue with the Jotun Warrior. It's not amazing for what you're wanting to do, but it's better than having a card that you can't cast in your hand, which is a risk that you take with too much of a splash. And then the other thing I noticed in your Feln-coloured cards over on the next page is you had a singleton copy of Haunting Scream. Now, because you have a pair of Gorgon Fanatics, Haunting Scream is the kind of card that I really like.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, mixing them with the two Dark Returns.
Exactly.
So I've played the Haunting Scream deck in Ranked, and there's something wonderful about Haunting Screamer Gorgon Fanatic, slapping someone in the face with it, and then using Dark Return to get it back, because it maintains the charge and flying attributes that it gains from the Haunting Scream.
And likewise for your 3/3 life gain. If he runs in and has to die, then the Haunting Scream can give him flying and evasion. Dark Return can turn to a 4/4 flying with haste. So you still have ways of getting value out of those creatures. And so I think I'd rather be just worrying about making sure I can cast my cards on time, especially when things like Gorgon Swiftblade is one of your more powerful cards, but it is both Primal and Shadow. So you want to be making sure that you have those colors represented. How's the deck looking now? It looks like you're one creature short. I wouldn't mind actually having the flyer that you cut out. What was the name of the Elysian flyer?
This is the Hunting Teriax.
Yeah, that's a great card. It catches people off. It's evasive. It's 5 power in the air for 5 cost. That's the kind of thing that I would be happy. And that way you can rejig your power base a little bit. So that way you only need 3, maybe 4 sources. So between your Stranger, the Banner, you might only want 1 or 2 time sigils. And then it looks as though you're really heavy on Shadow. So you can bump up on your Shadow just a little bit. And I think you'll be looking okay.
Okay, so if we're looking more like that, do you think that's too much time, or would you run the 2 sigils?
If you'd rather play 4 to play safe, like for me, my rule of thumb is if I'm splashing 1, it's 3. If I'm splashing 2, it's 5. But rules of thumb can be, broken under the right circumstance. The thing about the Hunting Teriac is it's great because it's your 5-drop, so it means you're not desperate until turn 5 to be finding the right colors. And I think by then you'll have a reasonable chance, especially having a scheme as well, which can be...
Exactly. We've got the scheme, we've got a Herald Song, so we've got a little bit of card selection going on. So look, you know what? I might drop it down to the 1.
Yeah, and your Gorgon Fanatics are a card draw as well. So you have a reasonable amount of card draw there. And I think I'll be happy with that, mate.
Okay.
Like, the more powerful card than the Teriac as far as pure power is the Carnosaur, but that's just way too expensive to splash.
I know. Yes, Dad.
Yeah, pretty
I'll eat
much.
my vegetables first.
Hey, look, if you want to put it in and see what happens, then I can get my Told You So ready. I'll write it in ink. But if you want to have some results, I reckon the Teriac is the way to go.
Not a problem. Well, look, I'm happy to run this as we go. So, for those of you who've tuned in for the 2 videos, hopefully this has been educational and helpful. I think it's been helpful for me. I'll be very interested to see how the deck runs. So, please make sure you join us in the next videos. Any other things to add, Cozzy?
No, that's it. All the best, mate. And I look forward to seeing these videos when they're done.
All right, cheers, guys. Okay, catch you in the first round.